Welcome to the Roadshow podcast.
What's going on, dude?
Thanks for having me, man. Good to be in a professional studio for once, as opposed to a casting couch out in the back of middle of nowhere and holding microphones. This is cool, man. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's only been this way for about a year now. Yeah, for the last 45. So we're sitting at you'll be number 86?
86, my favorite number.
Is it? No. What is your favorite number?
3,
Why?
my birthday.
Oh,
Isn't that everyone's favorite number?
Yeah, I guess so. Mine, I literally had my mother here this morning and she was like, you were born on Friday the 13th, right? And I was like...
Explains a lot, my friend. Explains why you've got the axes outside and wanted to chainsaw people on their way to Bassendean. And it makes a lot of sense.
The Grim Reaper, now you can come in. So what's been happening, dude? You been out on the streets this week or not?
No, my videographer is actually in Melbourne at the moment because he's a comedian himself.
Is that Tim Kershaw?
That's him. Yeah.
Ah,
How do you know him?
Tim. He does the No Crying in the Cool Room podcast.
Yes.
With my good friend Lockie.
Ah, Dude Food.
Dude Food.
Yeah,
my man.
So Tim's my videographer. He's been doing comedy in Melbourne. I'm actually going to go out and do the streets in Melbourne next week.
Right.
So that'll be cool. We're trying to tee up some sponsors to try and make it something big.
Yeah.
So yeah, he hasn't been around, and I don't really trust anyone aside from him because he's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
The channel would be nothing if it wasn't for Tim. It's just his vision. He's got like really creative ideas. He's oh, thank you so much. Look at this VIP service. Sorry?
Sugar?
No. I drink real coffee.
He's sweet enough.
You want another coffee?
That'll do. Actually, that'll do. I'll drink the cold. Yeah, it's all good. It's hot in here. Thank you.
So, yeah, without him around, I will probably do something next week. Normally we try and do once a week.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only time I can afford amongst all the other responsibilities and requirements. But the fact that he's not here, I haven't done much for nearly a week and a half now.
Right.
Yeah.
You got a lot of content backed up though, I'd assume.
Well, we're 6 weeks ahead. So
Damn.
people record with us, or we do the recording on the street. And they'll be like, bro, when's it coming out? I'll keep getting these messages and shit. And I have to tell them it's going to be about a month and a half. And they're blown away because not that it's that we're like, I don't know, it's not us to go, oh, we're such a professional organization or whatever. It's just that for us, filming is the easiest part to filter the best content.
Yeah.
Let's say in your case, it's difficult. You're going to have me here for an hour. You can't, it's mentally draining. You can't do fucking 9 of these in a day. You know, you could if you were on, I don't know, some sort of substances. But what...
Most of the time I am.
Yeah, explains a lot. So that's why this has started off the rails, Jacob. We're fucked. I was going to say, because we can film more, and because a conversation can only last 4 to 5 minutes, maybe, 6, 7 minutes if it's a really good one. And you can do 40 of those, right? Without getting tired or exhausted.
Correct.
You can take a break, do more. Then the problem of doing less means we're picking from a pile that's not the best possible pile.
Yeah.
So
and
we just go
from a smaller pond, right?
Yeah. So it's like, fuck it, just do more, get more shit in the bank. And then the problem is then we've got so much shit because you're dealing with a lot of 9s. Like we had this thing where we'd be releasing, oh yeah, that was pretty good, put it out, and that's how the channel grew. And then as your skills improve, as the expectations of your audience improve, now we're like, we can't actually put anything out that we don't feel is a 9 or a 10. And then we're like, well, that's going to limit it to like shooting once and you have 2. And then you're like on a weekly schedule. But what ended up happening is we were getting really good at selecting the people. We're getting really good at making the conversation wild or keep going until we have something interesting or funny. And now I'm like, we've got so much shit that it's still taking 4 to 6 weeks because we're filming more.
Right.
So you kind of, great problem to have, but
Are you going into it with a comedic mind, like you're going to make it funny, or are you just probing to see what you can get in that moment?
Bit of both.
Yeah?
Bit of both. The skill is that, and it's very hard because if you have a dry person, there's not really much you can take there, whereas you can kind of be self-deprecating and blah, blah, blah. And that's normally what I used to do when I used to do stand-up anyway. Self-deprecating is what I can lean on to make something funny.
Yeah.
But it's not really as funny unless it's like a tango. The other person is giving you something and you're kind of vibing off it. If it's just you fucking just splurting out bullshit, it's not as fun.
Right.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is you've got to prod to get the right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to relax them very quickly. So you've got to say some shit to relax them. Then at the same time, what the fuck is that?
Don't worry, the audio won't pick it up on it.
Oh, okay. I was
You
like,
just feel it through the
was this a
ground.
fucking
It's like a
heli-
bus or something, or maybe even a rubbish truck.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
So it's that, and then it's also the ability to go where, like in this conversation, I don't know what you're thinking, but if I was the interviewer, I've got like 9 strings here, and I'm like, where do I pull it? He said something here. Do I take it down this part? Do I take it down here? And that's what used to be like debilitating, because I'm like, fuck, that conversation could have gone there.
Yeah.
And I went here, and I'm not going to see that person again.
Yeah.
I fucked it. Whereas that's not really what it is. It's you've got to get better at taking it somewhere that is good as opposed to killing it.
Yes.
And then you just kind of, you know what I mean? Like you keep stacking on it.
Yeah, I find with any face-to-face interaction, you always want to get the best out of it if you're on camera, right? But if you weren't on camera, you wouldn't give a fuck. So I feel like maybe and they're the best times because you're not nervous. There's not really like much to punch around on. When it comes down to getting the snap, getting the reaction, or saying the thing that gets the most attention, it's almost like not being disciplined at all with it, but doing it is the discipline. You know what I'm saying? And then like it gives you the freedom after so many exposures. Like if you've ever done an ice bath,
Once.
they suck dick, right? Like they're the worst things.
I
in
suck
the world.
dicks in ice bath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Shriveled up
Yeah,
ones?
yeah. It's the easiest. That means I'm not gay, right? Because
Yes.
it's not erect.
Yeah, 100%. That's
Sorry.
exactly. You heard it here first, folks. So when you do an ice bath exposure, the first time is the worst. But if you did it every single day, like it wouldn't feel like shit. It would just be like another part of the day. It'd be, what I'm trying to get at is kind of like the same thing. When you have a huge pond of information that you've like gathered up, it's easier to fish from that pond because you know that there's going to be plenty of fish in there. When I do these, my average time on a podcast would be 3 to 3.5 hours. Right?
Yep.
I do that because I don't know what's going to be the most hype thing. I don't know. That's not the exact reason. I like to chill and hang, so the vibes are real. But I think like when I come down to it, I might find something funny, but not everybody else does because I wasn't here in that moment. But when you're out on the street, something funny to you is the street, right? So everyone would probably find that. I don't know. I'm philosophizing here.
Yes and no. So I've thought a lot about it because I've done comedy for many years, and this is only my 2 cents, so it's not comedy gospel. Is I think, yes, the thing is what you find funny is the only thing you can do really well.
Yeah.
Meaning I can't figure out what Jacob's going to find funny. That's fucking impossible. I don't know what's in your brain.
Yeah.
I do know what I find funny, and then I've got to lean on the fact that people like me are going to find that same shit funny.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create. This is what's been hard.
Tiny ice bath dicks. I find funny. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Hammer on the head.
It was the hairstyle gave it away. You know what this is going to be? It's going to be a roast.
Oh,
for it.
yeah. Let's go. Roast me, motherfucker. Street roast.
So it was the fact that I'm like, I just want to create an audience of myself,
Yeah.
which sounds kind of like weird, but then I know if I find something funny, if I find something interesting, then those people that are like me, there's enough of them, man. There's fucking how many billion people in the world? I don't even know the number now. 5 billion, right? 5 billion people in the world. I only need a very
9, by the way.
Is it 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
I was hoping to kill the other 4,
Yeah,
but like,
just not counting the females. Eh?
yeah. 5 billion males because my audience is only males. Fuck the females, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Except for your missus, the only
She's
fact.
good. She brought you a coffee. But if she didn't.
So it's to find that audience of people that are like me. Then I know if I find something funny, if I find something interesting, then I'm hoping those people that have kind of interests like me, they'll find that shit funny.
It's strange to see people get philosophical on your interviews when it's just after hello, how are you? Like that dude that was sitting on the stone in front of that, I think it's
Daniel.
City Beach or
Yeah,
something.
Daniel.
Yeah, that went deep. Was he on acid?
I would suspect he was on something.
Yeah.
But
That's the kind of shit you talk about on acid.
Well, I wanted to meet him again. There was many people that obviously like that. It was one of the best performing videos. The one you're talking about, for context that people don't know, was I just asked him something about my bum bag, and then I said, people say sometimes when I wear it, I'm gay, and he went on this whole Socrates tangent of homosexuality and all this. It was crazy, and it was fucking hilarious.
What is gay?
Yeah, he went on some other shit.
How can you be it if you're doing it? Like, what the fuck, bro? Right.
So yeah, and I would love to meet him again. Love to chat about it. Kind of understand his personality, because he's an interesting person. But yeah, I even reached out to his sister. I've spoken to people that know him to try and tee it up, but they say we can't get a hold of the guy.
Wow.
We don't know what the fuck he does. He's kind of in his own world.
Right.
And then I spoke to some people from his school, and they're like, he was always a bit of an outsider kind of guy, so it was hard to relate to him. And I mean, I find those kind of people that have such a unique viewpoint always fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I came, again, I'm a migrant. At that time, the only brown kid in school, in two of my previous schools until I went to Rossmoyne, which was full of brown people. And at that time, it was like, I have a complete different view of the world to everyone here in Australia.
Right.
So I always relate to that. So that's why the whole thing, the whole channel, is essentially people with just different viewpoints that are non-conventional and just interesting, and it becomes funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love the polarity of a guy hoofing butane to talking to an old lady about what she's doing, or a dude buying bread, or it's so good to see that in Perth, man. Somebody actually getting out there and just wanting to know what the people are up to. That's really, really cool. Mine's more specific to with this podcast. I would call yours a street podcast.
Yeah.
But micro version, because you're just spitting out clips here and there. I love that whole context. I love podcasting in general. I've talked about a bunch of different ones in Perth that are all doing their own little thing. But I think just the exposure of what we're doing here is good for the city.
Yeah, 100%.
And you traveling to Brisbane, I know you've done Brisbane, and now Melbourne, you're hoping to
Melbourne,
get over
we're
there?
doing Sydney, and then we're trying to tee up Wellington in New Zealand, which will be dope. Because as it grows, the views can be popular. Views can be beneficial to brands.
Yes.
And then brands can fund us doing it, which is cool. Because in the end, it's not my primary thing. I don't need it to generate revenue, but I don't want it to be a loss, like a loss business.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. If it makes $100,000 and I spend $100,000, dude, I'm awesome. I'm fucking for it, because it's funding itself.
It's not in the red at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm like, if a brand finds value from our audience and the views that we do, because we do a decent amount of views here in Perth.
Yeah.
Globally, not as much. Our audience is 65 or 67%, something like that in Australia. And then 30-something% is Perth. So it's very hyper local.
Yeah.
So for Perth brands, it's a great place to advertise if our demographic lines up with them. Where else are they going to get that kind of, dedicated interest in this comedic stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool. If a brand can fund it, we can do it. That'll be awesome.
It'll happen. You'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it cracking.
Yeah.
Fund it yourself.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing.
Tax write-off?
Well, that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years.
With K2?
With K2 and personal funding
Yeah.
is how I've just been kind of paying for. It's not cheap to do videography, editing. We outsource some of the editing. We do captioning. The video quality is really good.
Yeah.
So it costs money, but I don't mind it.
How are you sifting through right now? So is you and Tim going through the content yourself, or do you have a team that goes through and finds the funniest stuff?
Tim records. Tim will then filter what he thinks is the best.
Yep.
And then I veto what I don't think made the list. So he'll come to me with more than we select, and then I cull it down even further, and then we both have to agree on that one. And then if we agree, then it gets passed to a a guy in Dubai or Bangladesh. I actually don't know where he is. I think he's either one of those places. And he does the captioning. So he'll caption, send it back. Tim will fix up the captioning, and then I post.
Whoa. Is that a Fiverr job?
No, it's a guy that actually reached out to me on Instagram saying, I like your channel. I would love to get involved and do something.
Sick.
And I was like, what is your skill set? He's like, oh, I'd love to do editing. And I'm like, man, I don't trust anyone with the editing except for Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried a few people. I mean, I've got another guy that we use for like kind of minor edits, and then Tim will do the final stuff. And yeah, so he just does the captioning, sends it to us, and then we just fucking go from there.
Have you ever interviewed anybody that has like a story that you couldn't put out? Like something so left wing, out of the box, where you're just like, yeah, that's not good for the channel.
Like, you mean something politically incorrect, or?
I wouldn't say political, more like criminal. Have you ever had a conversation? You're like, we're not putting that out.
There's been a few we haven't put out because of like suicidal, like kind of connotations and getting into subjects that are pretty uncomfortable to like broadcast. Mm-hmm. But not anyone that's gone, I fucking murdered someone and I, dug a grave out in Bassendean Oval. Like, I haven't done fucking, that would be crazy. I would never put that up.
Yeah.
But there are people that have messaged saying, I would like to chat to you about something that's a little bit like, you don't know if they're being honest. Mm. And they might be doing it to like slander someone else. That kind of stuff I normally don't even like kind of engage in it.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, man, the main reason for that channel is to just make unique comedic content. Mm-hmm. I just want to make the best comedy stuff that people haven't really done. There's not that much street comedy. There's a lot of street interviews. There's a lot of crowd work on stage comedy. Mm-hmm. But there's not really like people that are doing these. For TikTok, our videos are fucking long.
Yeah.
They're like 3.5, 4 minutes long.
I've noticed they're getting a little bit longer now that you kind of get into a groove with the people.
Yeah. So we're purposely making them longer, not in the sense that we're putting fluff in, but we feel like it's the difference between, say, listening to Joe Rogan or listening to those like shorter 30-minute quick interview things. Mm-hmm. I never fucking enjoy the shorter 30 minutes. I'm happy for a 3.5, 4-hour podcast with two people I find interesting. Mm. And having an interviewer like Joe who can actually dig deep, have that level of assertion that he can fucking call you out on shit, and then you're listening to something that I'm like, this could go on for 10 hours. I'd fucking listen to it.
Yeah.
Whereas then you get those fucking MMA ones. I'm like, fuck that, and move on to the next, because I have no interest in that shit.
Wait till another one comes out, kind of thing.
Yeah, the companion one. Fuck this.
Companion. They basically just talk shit that whole time. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Or he'll get people that like, I want to know, like, for example, Matt Rife, who's blown up in the comedy world. He had him on the podcast and they fucking talked about ghosts for 2 hours. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you don't expect it, right?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, talk about something useful. So sometimes you're like, oh, fuck, what a waste of time. But what I'm saying is I'd rather build the character, build the story, let it go longer, because people would want to know more if they like the thing, as opposed to just fucking chop and you're done. It's like, fuck, that's just too much.
A longer video would imprint the brain more rather than just a regular old dopamine hit where you went, huh, and then scroll next.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're putting the who, what, when, where, and how into it, and the why specifically, you're really giving the story, the context. It makes me feel like you're being empathetic to me. Because you're going through like what's going on? Like, where have you been? What have you done? Who are you? Tell me what's going on. Why are you wearing this outfit? Whatever it is, right? I really like that. It shows value where you might not see value.
And also, I think it allows me to be accountable. Meaning that if I'm having a conversation with you and I edit out the fucking best shit, that's me looking like a mad dog just for my own ego. Whereas it's like, here's the conversation. I can show you that I said some dumb shit that I didn't go very well, and then it escalated or became funny. You kind of feel the conversation. Whereas like you see a lot of these little snippet things, people are purposely editing it to make themselves look at this witty response I had. I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like there's no depth. It's narrow. It's got its place. I'm not. Everyone's got a different type of channel. I'm just like, I'd rather go longer.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to a point where you kind of, at the end of it, you go, I want to follow this guy, or I want to follow this channel because I invested 4 minutes in this, and that was interesting. Like the job one you talked to me about where it was like a 6-minute video where we're walking around trying to get this guy a job, and eventually he gets an opportunity to work at a cafe or whatever. That went for ages, man. That was a long one.
You went into Nespresso
and we showed the whole thing. I said some dumb shit, like it was just really stupid. I could have done something better. Then we went to another shop, and then whatever, like the whole thing, you could kind of go along with the journey. And I like those kind of videos because at the end, I'm invested in the depth I've spent with that person.
Yeah.
As opposed to a quick thing that I don't know who the fuck that is ever again.
I like how it's that video in particular, how like deep it is, because you're kind of getting to know him as you're walking through, and then you sell the lady on giving him the job, and then you get swooped by a pigeon or some shit, just to like cap it off at the end. You're just like on to the next kind of thing. I love that. I find the humility of your channel is the most raw thing. Like you just said, if you were to chop and change from like making yourself look like the top shit of Perth, I feel
Which
like
I am.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Get that on record.
I'm sorry. I feel like if you were to do that, it would lose credibility. And I think the human thing these days is everybody wants the comparative lifestyle. I want to look like what you should want from me, or I want to live the life that you would want.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But you're like, no, I'm just out here. Let's go. Let's talk to people.
Yeah. I don't know where I heard this, but if you don't have opinions, if you don't have a character that's not just, okay, let me preface it. Sorry, let me backtrack and explain it a little bit better. No one is like, in the evening, we're not sitting there and getting pumped to go, fuck yeah, we've had a tough day. Let's go out and get vanilla ice cream. No one's ever pumped to get fucking vanilla. Do you know what I mean? No one's ever that's never an exciting thing. And I know that's a bad example. This is the only thing that came to my head. Is no one is that moved, interested, or excited by something that's just plain in the middle. And no one is plain in the middle. People can hide it because of the kind of culture, the societal pressures to say anything right now that could get you in trouble, you know? And you'll see, you can go into the comments of any of my videos, someone's like, I can't believe you said this, you're this type of person, you're racist, you're
sexist, bigot, whatever it is.
You're maligning for, there's all kinds of shit that's never even crossed my fucking mind.
Yeah.
When I'm doing the thing, it's not even part of what I'm doing. Yes, there are times when I'm like, this person is ridiculous. And I take it further, which is a little bit of a piss take, and I understand that, but I'm not trying to go out there to take the piss out of someone. But if you say something outlandish, you say something ridiculous, and I've given you enough preface, we're recording this, going to get distributed, this is on our channel, you want to walk away, go walk away. This is what we're doing, right? Yeah. So if I come on your show right now and then I say some wild shit and then you play with it because you're like, cool, let's go. Yeah. And then for people to go, oh, you took the piss out of them, it's like, well, that's not the fucking point of it, was to have fun.
Is that the tooth thing? Is that what you're trying to get at?
There's so many, man. There's so many. Like I could go from whatever, but what I'm saying is, it's in the end, like people will take that, but in the end, I'm like, you can see the kind of person I am. You can see the kind of shit I like to do, and I get it wrong. A lot of the times I say something that I'm like, I shouldn't have said it, but I'm going to put it there. You can see it, and that's cool, because then people can hopefully go, I'm not curating it to look like I'm a clean cut, straight down the middle person with no opinions, no joy in going to the edges of things, because then I'm like, vanilla ice cream, man. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's just fucking plain vanilla.
I think the best part about your channel, and you might see this wrong, but it's the blooper content where you're going, hello, no, oh, okay, yep, no, hello, oh, no, okay. You know, going from person to person, where it's just like, oh shit, he gets no's consistently. I learned this when I was in real estate, and a no for a persistent person means next opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. If you get a no, you're on to the next. Yes. You kind of have to be a mirror. You got to let things reflect and just bounce off you. Yeah. I respect that about your hustle, for sure.
Well, years of doing business, man. Years of doing sales, years of picking up the phone, making calls. It's just part and parcel. Being also coming from a different country, having to and I think that's kind of why I gravitate towards getting attention and doing things that are for attention, is because you've always had to be a performer, to be not, to kind of override the fact that you were different or not different. Like people didn't know who the fuck you were. Like
Yeah.
you're like I was a Sikh, like with a turban, beard. It's a different outlook. So people don't know what that is, which is fine. But then you're coming from not a baseline. You look like everyone. So now it's like you're different. So then you got to kind of be funny. You got to have something different. That's an interesting skill to kind of stand out, and then be at that baseline and then be above the baseline, which is then, if you have more money, then people go, oh, now I want to be this person's friend. So it's all that same sort of stuff. But, it is, like it's always been that I want to keep trying new things, keep persisting. It's just part of the game. And a no, like you said, is on. Keep going on. Like flip it, it's on. Where you could have 20 no's in sales and that one fucking yes pays for 50 no's. So you know that that's the pattern. And you know that we've seen it with this street interview is you're going to get no's from enough people, but you're going to get that one which will make up for all those no's.
Yeah.
But then you could, like we just posted one just yesterday, which was about the referendum that's coming up tomorrow, the voice to Parliament. And it was just us chatting, and I was like, we don't really do timely content. And I think speaking to people on the streets for this referendum would actually be quite interesting. And Tim was like, yeah, I'm down for it. I think that's great because we always try and do this evergreen stuff, meaning you can watch it at any time. Timely stuff, you can only watch it then it's gone.
Yeah.
And this thing's not going to mean anything to anyone in, even a week, right? But the reason I tell that story is we were finished filming and we hadn't got anything. I had a few people say something and it was kind of like, it's just a very conventional view. What this person said is kind of the same shit. There's really nothing interesting. And I was like, look, let's just do fucking one more, right? Because we had enough to make it good enough, right? And then I met this guy and then he was fucking awesome. Like he just had a very, very stern view about why he believes we should vote no. And it's his view. And I was like, that actually works as a contrast for people that want to vote yes. Can they challenge his views? And people that want to vote no, which they're entitled to, will solidify their views. He's like such a polarizing person that the way he presented it, I was like, fuck yeah. And we just went one more. Sometimes it's just like you do that one more, and then we canned all the others. There's no need for it. That was the one.
Wow. What do you think about it? About this no yes referendum for the voice?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, me neither.
I've listened to enough. I've tried to, study it enough, and I don't think I know. Because I don't know. Like, it doesn't directly affect me. So I don't. And I have plenty of Indigenous friends, and I've spoken to them. And what's weird is they all have different views.
Yeah.
If they all had the same view, I'd know the answer. But they all have different views, and then I don't know the motives behind it because it's not really Indigenous people that are directly campaigning for it. It's these parties that are supposedly doing right for the people that have not had anything right done for them for so long, with all these policies that still don't help them. So I don't fucking know, man.
It just seems like segregation in a positive way, in a politically positive way. But yeah, I'm the same, and I have Aboriginal blood, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll find out tomorrow.
You got a Aboriginal background?
Yes, correct.
From parents, grandparents?
Parents, yeah.
Okay.
My mom, yeah. Well, not specifically. I'm fourth generation, so yeah, it's kind of bred out of us a little bit, but I'm still Wurundjeri regardless. It is what it is. Yeah.
And what's the confliction? Like, what are your...
Why does there have to be a vote to say that they should have a voice? Why couldn't they just have a voice without the say of white people, or the say of political conjecture? It just doesn't make sense as to why in 1967 they were passed off, brought out of the wildlife and what do they call it? Wildlife and fauna.
Flora and Fauna
Act.
Yep.
That's when they were no longer required to have certificates to walk into the city. Like before that, they needed a ticket to say they were allowed in the city centre. Which is, what the fuck? Like 60 years later, we're still talking about this. Yeah. Why is it not just like, we're humans? Let everyone be fucking humans. Why do we need a vote whether or not we should have humans shed light upon? it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, if you go out to these very rural communities and you start to see that there is an office for like an executive or the person that manages that area, got fucking like 10 air conditioners. It's a pretty dope shed, full access to clean water. There's essentially all the amenities of living a generally pretty good life. You step 100 meters out of that and you've got these impoverished indigenous communities, and they have got a toilet which doesn't flush. They've got infestation of fucking rats and the whole fucking thing is falling down. There's asbestos fencing. And I'm like, dude, we're a rich country, man. And we have policies to help the Aboriginal people. And I'm like, well, there's obviously something not right.
Yeah.
So maybe having this advisory board that tells the parliament what should be done, but that doesn't mean it is going to be done. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, my personal opinion is I don't see it as a bad thing. Like, voting, why the hell would you vote no? I don't get that. I'm not saying I'm voting yes or no, but I'm trying to push back and understand why would you vote no? This whole divisive and blah, 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 blah stuff. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're changing the constitution to allow for a specific party to have a different advantage over others in the sense that they get a priority in their say as opposed to everyone else. I understand that, but these are the communities that they own the country. So you're not doing it for fucking some random person. There's these people that own the country. So I get that part, but it's like, man, isn't it better to just allow a little bit of extra help, assistance, a move forward?
Yeah.
So
I see that side of it too, man. I definitely do. But I just worry that this is the infancy of further segregation. That's it. It's like, are we going to need a Chinese board, an Indian board? Like,
well, no, they're migrants, right? Migrants voluntarily came here.
but we live in a multicultural society, right?
We do, right? But if you think about the indigenous people, they were the original owners of the land.
Yes, correct.
And if you look at the history of, say, something like Rottnest Island, it is fucking horrific, right? We go out and party, we do levers there, we catch every STI possible there. That's our thing to do at the fucking
Chlamydia Island.
Yeah, it's not koalas, it's quokkas giving chlamydia. But the original purpose of the island was to essentially take Aboriginal people and imprison them in Rottnest Island.
Yes.
They were in chain gangs, so being tied in shackles to build all the stuff that's been built in Rottnest Island. They dug graves in the place that became a motel. So people were sleeping in the motel where dead Indigenous people were buried in these.
I didn't know that.
It's fucked, man. If you read the history of Rottnest Island, I was like, dude, I've been out there fucking partying in this place. It's not really a place. It needs to be memorialized. It's pretty
More
horrific.
of a sacred site than anything. Yeah.
It's pretty horrific. But I guess. Yes, you're not setting a precedent for now Indian people having the voice to the parliament. You're not setting a precedent for fucking Swedish people doing it because they're voluntarily coming here. No one's fucking asking them to come here. They're doing it for a better opportunity. Australia gives you a lot of access to the basic requirements of a good life, right?
Yeah.
Go anywhere else in the world, man. Go to India. It's fucked. Then no one's looking out for you. You're looking out for yourself. Here, Australia looks out for most people could do fuck all in their life and still live very well compared to the rest of the world.
Yes.
But not the Indigenous communities, which is really sad. Like it's actually kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the whole stolen generation, the White Australia Act, there was a lot of fucked up shit, which is not us. We're not doing that. I'm saying that's in the past. But think about it this way. Let's say your family were over generations predominantly disadvantaged. They were put into horrendous conditions. They were put into they were tortured, tormented, treated as essentially not even humans. They were given really, really unfair punishment in every facet of their life. Do you think you'd turn out good?
No way at all.
So we're kind of helping in some way, not propagating that. Like it's the say in the deep in Chicago where my brother lives, some really, really disadvantaged black communities, which have had generations of gang violence, of their parents dying, of fucking cousins and brothers and sisters, all that shit happening.
Constant shootings and everything, yes.
Always living in fear. And do you think those kids that are born are going to be like, let's fucking get after it. Let's start the Roadshow podcast. You're not gonna have that, right? They're not gonna have that access to the literacy and whatever, like all that stuff. Anyway, this got fucking way too deep, man. I don't know how we ended up here.
I do think financial literacy is one thing that would benefit the community. The community as a whole, but Aboriginal communities, because, you know, when they were first enslaved, you know, like they were paid in alcohol and cigarettes. So I don't know if that gets passed down generation to generation, but like that in itself created a whole nother fucking whirlwind of a tornado. You know?
Yeah.
You know.
So it is something that needs to help. Again, I don't know, man. I don't have the answer. So that's why I don't know if the yes or no is the right way to go. I don't know what the right way is, but anything that can move it one step forward is not a bad thing.
Yes.
It's not a bad thing.
Yes.
Like, we're not doing anything wrong by allowing someone to aid in the decision making that is from the community that can help them make better decisions. That's really, really my only view.
It's kind of the same thing that's happening with Palestine right now, right? It's like the whole segregation between two parties, if you will, and they just want, you know, more availability to preach and not have so much injustice put on their lives. That's all it is. It's like people just want freedom, man. That's where all this stems from, is the fight for freedom. You know, freedom from past trauma, freedom from the current traumas. I find there's a lot of war and bullshit happening in the world right now, and it can be mitigated with just more empathy.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, man.
Me neither.
I'm just the guy that fucking makes people laugh.
Yeah, I'm an idiot on a microphone. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know anything about politics, man.
So tell me, your first time going out filming. What was that experience like?
First time was fucking brutal. It was. We got a drink afterwards, and we were sitting at this hotel near Murray Street Mall, and we're upstairs on the balcony. I was sitting with Tim, and I was like, dude, I just want to jump off this balcony right now. This was fucked. Like, it was so uncomfortable, like trying to stop someone midway going somewhere, have someone like midst conversation on a phone or just busy, and you don't have the tools to know how to disarm them, how to get into a conversation. So I wasn't really getting into conversations, and I had these like questions I would ask them thinking that was a funny thing to say, and fuck me, it was so rough. And I was like sweating. You could see the sweat patches on my t-shirt. And I've done like difficult things. I've done plenty of stand-up, done cold calling, done presentations to thousands of people. So I was like, I'll be fine with this. It was the fucking hardest thing I've ever done. And so I finished, and I was like, look, anything I start, I make a commitment to a number of times I have to do it. So I told Tim, we're going to try this thing and we're going to do it 5 times. Regardless, if it fucking sucks, I'm going to do it 5 times. That's 5 hours. So first week was absolute dog shit. And I was like, I don't want to come back, but we're going to come back. So we came back next week. And then I had the most epic week, like fluke. It was just like the universe telling me this is what I needed to do. Basically, throughout these people, where it could have been you, could have been fucking anyone with a microphone, that would have been a banger week of content. There was Perth's best rappers, and they did a rap battle on the streets. There was this guy who found the true limitless drug to open his mind and become 100%. It was the wildest shit, man. And I was
Some
like,
NZT limitless shit.
it was unbelievable, bro.
Was it Bradley Cooper? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Him and Zach Galifianakis came along. So it was fucking awesome. And I was like, fucking, that's it. I'm awesome at this. This is good. So it was like this hovering thing. And then week 3, 4, 5, they were average. It was still uncomfortable. I would secretly hope it would rain so we wouldn't have to film.
Right.
I would like think, oh man, yeah, fuck, why am I doing this? And I would try and convince myself, I've got plenty of other shit going on. Why am I, you know, your mind tries to tell you, this is nothing. What are you doing? Just fucking move on.
Yes.
So a lot of that stuff just permeated for long enough but there was enough wins in there that I could see the potential. Like week 2, the clip we posted ended up getting, excuse me, 300,000 views.
Wow.
And I'd never got that in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. I was like, how? Yeah, it was great, but I just kind of talked to this person and that got 300,000 views. Imagine if I got better at this. Could I get 3 million views or whatever, right? That wasn't a benchmark, but whatever. And as I started getting better, I started seeing consistency where like if it was good and I did a good job, found an interesting person, we did something funny that is uniquely funny, it got a ton of views. And nothing else I was producing was ever getting a ton of views. And I tried plenty of things in the past, so it wasn't like I didn't have the experience in it.
Yeah.
And just went from there.
Well, I have to say, I was doing video reactions. Hey, and the biggest one I got was like 5.7 million views. Right, just reacting to other people's content. And then I started
on YouTube.
No, Instagram.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and then I saw your content and made friends with Sev. You know Sev?
I don't know him, but I've run into him a few times. Yep.
So we'll have a cigar sometime. Trust me.
Okay.
It's really good. It's really good. So I started seeing his content. He came on the podcast and he's like, stop doing the reaction videos. And you were just starting out. I was an early follower on your Instagram. I think you were like 6 videos deep of like the interviews.
Okay.
And I was like watching, I was like, this guy's doing something. And that was the moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing reaction videos and just concentrate on my own content.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Why did you think that?
It was almost like my whole life I've always done things myself. Like I don't steal. I don't like to steal, and I think something borrowed is still something stolen. So not necessarily like for everything, but just for like, you know, intellectual property and all that kind of stuff, and just putting your face on somebody else's video so you get the retention of, you know, viewers. I don't fucking like it, right? And I saw you going out and you're like, I think you were getting like 6,000, 7,000 views. And I was like, he's fucking out there. He's literally on the street doing this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if this guy can do it, I can fucking do it. And then I started pulling down all my reaction videos and just focusing on the Roadshow and going ham with this. So one day I could sit here and talk to you.
No way. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Legit?
Yeah, legit, bro.
Oh, fuck, that's really cool to hear, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So fucking now we're doing it.
Oh, well, I'm glad, man. Yeah, that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, dude. It was wild to see, because I thought you were in like Melbourne. You know, I thought like, there's no way somebody's doing this in Perth. And I was like, wait, hold on, that's Murray Street Mall or Hay Street Mall or something.
Yeah. Murray, yep.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So this guy is here. I like this. And then when I talked to you and then I found out you were the owner of K2, I was like, oh shit. Oh, like, so I've done work for this dude as well? Like, what the fuck is going on?
This guy's fucked up my life. Stopped me doing React videos and I'm out at his fucking workplace.
Yeah. So I stopped seeing Gina and I started doing this full time. So
man, good on you. Like I haven't done a ton of podcasts, but I've done a fair few. This is the most professional setup in Perth.
Thank you.
And actually feels kind of fun to be in this space, which you don't normally feel in a podcasting space. You can feel that the quality of the audio, the setup is nice. And it's good, man. You've invested into doing something properly.
Yeah.
Which is what I see with other street interviewers. You notice sometimes they're doing street interviews and they're recording off their phone. They have a phone microphone. They've got like, and I get it if it's a financial limitation. You don't have the money to do it or whatever. That's fine. Like that's not what I'm getting at. But these are people with millions of followers. I'm like, I don't have millions of followers. You have obviously enough funding from somewhere. If you have that sort of followership, you would imagine to at least do it properly.
Yes.
And then when someone's doing it properly, I know they're taking it seriously. So in this case, I'm like, I know you're taking it seriously. Now it's just a matter of, you're obviously doing well, but it's just a matter of, to get better and better is to figure out the lane, figure out the type of content, the type of topics you bring up, the things that you uniquely can talk about or do. And that's where the gold is.
Yeah. So how do I even fucking put this? One of the things that I've found is my targeted audience in the beginning was the hip hop community, because I would just talk to rappers, and obviously I have my own studio and stuff, so people would come down. I'd be like, let's do a podcast next week or some shit. Actually, in the height of like COVID was like when I started the podcast.
Right. Okay. Good time to do it.
Yeah. Everyone was locked in, and like the few like crazy people were like, let's hook up, let's catch up, sit on your couch and talk shit. And when I was like a full-on stoner, dude, like I smoked weed every day. In the middle of COVID, what else were you gonna do? You know, like obviously you have businesses. I didn't have a business at that time, so I was just like, fuck it, let's put this on camera. And a lot of the retention that I have from that early audience still follows me now. And I've started to pick up like a 25 to 35 age bracket male.
Yes.
That, you know, just wants to talk shit or talk about the interesting things in Perth or listen to people talking about it at least. So
is Perth your angle then?
yeah, I'm trying to put Perth on the map.
Awesome.
I'm trying to show that we have an LA here.
Yep. Okay.
We have LA 50 years ago, Venice Beach. You've been to Scarborough Beach. You know exactly what it looks like.
Yes.
It's the same shit, dude.
Well, Perth is one of the most amazing places in the world. And I don't say that because I've lived here most of my life, which is one part of it. I've traveled fucking everywhere. We've gone everywhere and done parts of work stuff, tourists, just general being a tourist around the world.
Yeah.
There are amazing places. New York is a fucking amazing place. I would never fucking live there.
No?
There are.
Why not?
Oh, it adds anxiety to your baseline, bro. There's fucking shit going on everywhere.
Yeah.
There's stunning women. There's 58 restaurants on one street. There's people that are just like in your face with some like it's intense. And maybe as a young 20-year-old with ambitions to conquer the world, great. That the energy, the vibe makes you want to do that. But as a sustainable, nice place to live, no. It's just a concrete fucking jungle. But that's one example. Germany, again, beautiful place. Amazing people, amazing infrastructure, the most diligent, the most meticulous people on earth live in fucking Germany. They are fucking, they just want everything, like the Japanese, want everything to be fucking perfect. And that's why all the machineries, all the like fucking real intricate manufacturing happens in Germany.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but a lot of it. Now
Well-
it's obviously in China because it's cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
But
But it's planned in Germany.
and slavery is acceptable.
Yeah.
So they can fucking just throw people out of a building when they're not required.
Yeah. It's funny that they came up with concentration camps and now they concentrate.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, but then you come back to Perth, and I'm not even saying Australia, like Melbourne, Sydney. You come back to Perth.
They're big cities though.
Yeah, and I don't mind the big city, but I just don't. There's not the Melbourne. The weather, it's off-putting. I used to live in Melbourne. Melbourne, the weather is just too off-putting to be there all the time. It's all fucked, right? The only parallel would be Brisbane. Brisbane's a beautiful place to live.
I've always said Brisbane is here in 30 years with shit beaches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why you got the amazing beach lifestyle. You've got the relaxed lifestyle. You can also get after it if you want to some extent. That you are going to have limitations there. Every place is going to have limitations. But to raise a family, to have amazing resources, you've got great parks, great whatever, all that stuff. And enough of the foodie kind of wanky shit that people love to do. You've got that here as well.
Yeah, it's quite eclectic, Perth. It is. It's quite eclectic. Do you think that the lack of crime? Obviously, there's no zero crime in the world in any city, the whole fucking world. But here, there's no guns. There's like I've talked to a lot of Americans that have moved here recently, where they just want to get the fuck out of America. And Perth seems like the nicest place. It's like the most remote city in the world, but when you get here, you're like, oh shit, I didn't expect this at least, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think it's the lack of crime?
It's got to be a factor. I don't know if that's what it is. It's all the other stuff I mentioned as well.
Yeah.
You've just got like
It's got a quite high bar of poverty, right, as well. So you have to really fuck your life up to be poor here, because we have, housing, we have pensions, all the benefits.
there's enough
and
support.
stuff.
There's
Yes.
enough benefits in Australia
Yes.
to hopefully not have any homelessness, but it exists. I see it all the time. But in saying that, I like that is your vision, to actually be the kind of like a platform to put Perth people on the map. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, I didn't know like what's the driver for you for doing this. Like no one would go into this sort of expenditure and put all this effort in if you just wanted to shoot the shit with people and do it just for your own fun.
Yeah.
Some people might if you had a fucking ton of money or whatever, but that's cool, because then people can use that and go, okay, if I want to see cool Perth people, if I want to talk about cool shit in Perth, Jacob's podcast is the place to be. That's cool.
Well, it just seems to me that there is too many people doing cool shit and nobody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? And the level, like there is actually a studio in Perth called Levels Studio, funnily enough, and you don't know about them, right?
No.
But they are, like, his name's Sheldon Yarman, does the best production mixing in the world. In the world. He gets props from New York City, LA, like all the biggest guys know who he is. And you don't fucking know about him.
Yeah.
So I talk to him. I'll talk to the actress that's doing her thing. I'll talk to the rapper, the singer, the politician, the comedian. I want to put this place on the map just like what you're doing with the people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So give me some of the people. Like I would love to know who are the people that you look, the content that you watch or the, you know, say top 5 or whatever in Perth that are actually doing cool shit.
Podcasting wise?
Just general creators. General
creators.
Yeah.
I like John Pinder.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking
Comic.
great comedian.
Yeah, he'll be in soon.
Yep.
I haven't had him just yet, but we're gonna get some stogies and shoot the shit, right? Sev, obviously, I have to shout him out. He'll be the Gary Vee of Australia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why do you think that?
Just with his outlook on everything, not just like his, you know, like what he does with his media, but who he is off the camera is who he is on the camera.
Yep.
And he talks in quotations. You know what I'm saying? He's very, very inspiring, and I think he's doing wonders for the city. Brandon Willington.
No, I haven't heard of him.
He owns Where You Marketing.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Insane dude, man. He's like the Andrew Tate of Australia.
Oh fuck! I don't know if you want to label anyone the Andrew Tate of anything.
Without the, you know,
without the human trafficking.
And training up children.
Then you're not Andrew Tate. You're not doing it properly.
Yeah, no. And he has hair. So.
Oh yeah.
No, he does a lot of cool shit. He's very, very knowledgeable. That's 3. Number 4.
Okay. Yep.
Is that 3?
Well, I was just wondering, like, who are the people? Because if you've spoken to enough of them, and I don't know. I know some, but it'd be great to know like who these people are, and I would love to collaborate with them.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I've wanted to do recently is start actually collaborating with other creators, because that's how you get access to each other's audience.
Yes.
And you also kind of learn. There's a guy that reached out to me, and I hadn't come across his channel, and he wears like a green mask and he talks about cars.
Oh, yeah.
Spotto?
Spotto?
Is that him?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then I went,
hey, you going, cunts?
Yeah, that's him. I hadn't heard of him, and he messaged me. He's like, bro, we should catch up. And I didn't know where he was from. And then I was like, bro, are you in Perth? He's like, yeah, I'm in Perth. And then I looked at his channel. I was like, this guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And now I like went back and watched all his video, or not all, but a lot of his videos. And I'm like,
too.
this guy is fucking cool. And yeah, I would never think that's someone from Perth.
Yeah.
So these little, and that's why I asked you the question, these people, I'm like, fuck, I'd love to collaborate with him. Go on a car cruise together, and he just like fucking talks some shit. We banter together. I find out a bit of background about him. We kind of, do that whole thing. That'll be cool. Get, the rappers I've done so many, because they all come out and they just want to rap. And
yes.
There's still some that, who would you rate as good rappers coming up at the moment in Perth?
In Perth City, you have Prophet, who's support act for Chillin' It this weekend at Metro City. His brother Nitty, which is wild that they're brothers. They're 2 different genres, but they just kill it together.
Nice.
Shit, man, there's so many. The Veronica Bravo in the house, she's a singer in the house genre. Like 5 million monthly listeners.
Nice.
Lude's from here. You know Lude?
No, I haven't
I
heard.
come from the land down under.
Oh,
but
no
it's
way.
a drum and bass version of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went wild. He did the Big City Life, Matafix collab. Big City Life, we're trying to get by. You know that song?
No.
Oh, really? Come on, man. That's a classic.
I've been out of it for a while, man.
Yeah. So he's collabed with Moby and all now. Like,
wow.
It is wild, dude. And he's from here. He's currently residing in Sydney, but he'll be back soon. Sylvester Banks.
Fair bit of talent in Perth, isn't it?
Dude, Edward Maradona. You know Edward? He owns Cabinet Noir.
Okay. I know Cabinet Noir.
Yeah. Gucci Smoothie.
Oh, yeah. He does Street X or whatever.
Street X. Yeah, he's from here. Like, it is wild what's happening in Perth right now. And I think being an anchor to showcase these people is very important. And the more anchors we have, the more stable it'll be for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. And you, bro. Like that's a big one, dude. Like you're doing a lot for the city. So fucking
Thank you, man. That's very kind of you. But yeah.
No, that's awesome.
I'm just trying to be funny, man. That's all it is. Trying to entertain some people.
But you can tell that's what it is. You can tell that's what it is because you're just doing your thing and it's getting attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too because too many people are trying to be something different. I think if that spotter dude took off the mask and just did what everybody else was doing, he wouldn't get the same attention.
Agreed.
Yeah, but
Agreed.
he was like, fuck it, let's go. You know?
Let's be different. Let's be,
That's all it is. Be different, be out there, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to get more eyes, man. Yeah.
Wicked.
Where do you think your channel's going to go if I gave you like a 10-year projection? Are you going to remain here?
In Perth?
Yes.
I'll always be in Perth.
Okay, cool.
That's always going to be my home base. Unless, like I said, Brisbane would be the only other place that I'd love to live because I love Brisbane. But I would certainly be here. This would always be my home base. I've got 2 kids. I don't plan on, derailing them and going anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And it's a good question, man, because I don't really think that far. Very rarely. I think in maybe a month, 2-month kind of periods, what are the things we want to do? But what I would hope is I really want to conquer the YouTube side purely because I love longer form content, not because I just want to be on YouTube or whatever. I mean, being on YouTube is cool, but I think it's going to be, our channel is predominantly TikTok, Instagram secondarily. Instagram is a weird place, man. Weird place because
It is strange.
yeah, because TikTok gives you merit for good shit.
Yes.
With a very woke side to it.
Yes.
Meaning that
Very
if you
left wing.
you slightly step across the boundary, fucking community guidelines. So that part's annoying. But the platform is awesome in that meritocracy always wins in most cases. Instagram's not like that. I don't understand. Like, I know some of the stuff that we do is put out on all other platforms and it does incredibly well. Sometimes Instagram will give it reach, sometimes it won't.
Yes.
They're more of a put money behind us and we'll give you reach. It becomes more of a business transaction. So it's annoying. Whereas
That's meta in a whole though, right? They just want money.
it is,
That's
it
all
is,
it is.
which is fine. But like
Have you pushed anything with like paying for videos? And no.
I've nothing.
neither.
I mean, aside from testing maybe $100 across all platforms
Yeah.
ever, I've never ever. All my reach is purely organic because that's what I want to test. Because I can always just pump some money and then go, yeah, cool, it's got some viewership, and that would be fine if I was then trying to get something at the other end of the line. But I'm not. Aside from just getting viewership and getting more people to see it, that's all I'm trying to do, and trying to get better at it. And I think long term, the only answer I have in 10 years is I want to get so good at making this unique comedy content that there's no one else like that.
Yes.
So where can I continuously improve my skill, put myself in more situations, come up in better concepts? And what started to happen now, which is really, really cool, and I would love for it to continue to grow, is I may have a part 1 with you. We have a conversation out of the blue. You leave a string about, oh, I'm a obsessive coffee person or something, right? And the first one goes really well. And then I go, hey, why don't we now go back to Jacob, find part 2, where we create a part 2 where I then take you to a coffee shop and you show me how to roast beans. And then we still make that comedic. And the community loves that because they know who you are. They've seen you in part 1. And now the second part becomes even more for the people that like to watch it. And then the other people go, hey, that's cool that you met a random fucking person and now you've met up with them again to do something else. And we're getting a lot of these happening, which is awesome.
Yeah, I saw that video that you did with the Eshe, and then the second video that you did with the Eshe.
Well, we've got a third one coming up.
Have you?
Yeah.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that. Maybe we'll get into an ice bath together or something. Hey?
Yeah. Just don't have an erection.
Yeah, no, can't. I can't.
You can't.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
can do it in an ice bath.
Won't fit it in the mouth, Can't need it. Don't need it. Can't need it. Yes, I like that idea too, and that's kind of what I do with conversations with the Roadshow. Is if I enjoy the conversation, if we click, if we get along, if it flows, I want to talk to you again.
Yep.
And that's how it goes. I've just started a series called Stogie Bros. Literally the last podcast I put out, and it's just a podcast of both individually I did podcasts with, and now we sit in a room and smoke cigars together.
Nice.
You know, and we talk shit because they're friends through cigars, and now we're all friends through cigars. And the podcast is sponsored by Familia Cigars too. So we're just like, you know,
Good commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
opportunity.
and it just shows the realness, the rawness. Like we're talking about like beard oil retention as to why you're so fat and all this bullshit. You know, it's just great. It's so funny. And I think like the more people that are doing things like that, it's going to be beneficial.
And where do you get most of your views for the podcast?
It splits between shorts
On YouTube?
on YouTube. All the small form content gets a lot more viewership, but Spotify.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which people will then listen to the whole thing?
Yes.
Because Spotify is the full episode, right?
Yes. You don't put shorts up on Spotify.
Yeah.
But
I've seen someone do it. This Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. It's been a podcast that's been doing quite well from the UK now in the US.
Right.
He actually puts, say it's a 2-hour podcast, he'll put a 14, 15 minute, like
Clip.
a big, the most kind of interesting part of that the podcast as a shorter clip on Spotify.
it's a way to do it. I've seen people put their live comedy on Spotify now through podcast.spotify.com, which is really, really interesting.
Audiobooks on Spotify now.
Yeah.
That's
what
dope.
the fuck, dude?
What makes sense, right? Because that's what else are the listening experiences that people are having? Because Spotify wants to be the place for listening experiences. People get off Spotify, which is what I do, to listen to an audiobook on Audible.
Yeah.
So why let someone get off
When you could keep
when
them
you
on
can
them.
just play that book?
Those Germans, man, they're smart motherfuckers. Is he
Germans?
Danish?
No,
maybe?
yeah. I think so. Yeah. He's
Have you seen the Netflix documentary on him?
No, I've got to watch it. Yeah.
Wild. He got told no by Universal. Everybody said no to him, and he's like, "We'll make it happen," and he did. He did.
Yeah.
He got some of the best lawyers on his team, and then they just made it fucking happen through persistence.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. Persistence beats resistance 100% of the time.
Yeah, if you do something long enough, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the consensus of this entire podcast.
Wrap it up on that one, eh?
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for coming down. This has been a joy and a pleasure for me.
Likewise, man. That time went very quick. I was like, fuck, it's been an hour already.
It flies by, man. I've done a 5-hour before.
Jeez.
It felt like a 2-hour. It was just, they're awesome. I love it.
Who was it with?
Fuck, we split it into 2. Fuck.
It was that good you don't even remember the guest?
Dude, I have too many guests. I just remember that it was a long fucking edit.
That's cool.
All my edits are now done with AI, by the way.
The Autopod or whatever.
Autopod,
I've heard it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Unless I literally went through my computer today and I gave myself an extra 300 gig of data that was available, because when you do a podcast, if it's an hour, it's going to be 2 gig on each mic, and then I've done 100 podcasts, so
Fucking hell.
it takes up a lot of fucking space.
So does an Autopod cut the best parts for short reels as well?
No, the best thing for that is, oh shit, I was using it there for a bit. It's not Pegasus, that's the other fucking thing. I'll send it to you. I
that's
can't
cool.
remember. I can't
That's
remember. Actually, let's Google it. Hold on 1 second. Do you have to get out of here?
Yeah, well, I can do it in 5 minutes, man. No
Okay,
stress.
all right, sweet. I want to help.
Did you get anything interesting out of that?
The podcast?
Yeah.
What are you fucking
I
talking
feel like I
about?
just rambled on about nonsense, man. I'm like hoping you get something useful, some interesting clip that can be used for something.
100%. Of course. Oh, Opus.pro.
Opus, okay.
You heard of it?
No.
Yeah. So it's free to begin with. You try it out. Drop 20 minutes of shit into it, and it spits it out like this.
Just get, what with the captioning?
Captions, and it tracks the video too. So it'll like zoom in on your face and then track who's talking and then switch between.
This shit is insane, man.
It's getting crazy.
Like even 11 Labs, have you ever used it?
Yeah.
Fuck, man, how good is that?
What the fuck, dude?
Like, because now I've put my voice in there. I want to see how that comes out because it's still processing it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fucking dope, man. That means I could create content immediately where it would select the best clips, and also at the same time, you've got your own voice talking over those clips. That's fucking next level.
Tell you one other thing that they do is they spit out, I think it's about 20 videos, and they tell you the virality rate of the video. and the context and the heading of the video, and they give you why it would go viral in conjunction with the time that we're in. So it basically goes through the news stories. Oh, they're talking about that. It will go viral because it's linked to that.
We're not required, my friend. We're just going to have to use AI to talk and do all the editing and do everything. And we're just we're the consumers. We're the brains just listening
We'll
to
have the chip. We'll just plug in, podcast on. How you doing? Dude, thank you so much for coming down.
Absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. That
Ladies
was
and-
fun. I enjoyed that.
Hey. Do you want to do the outro?
Yes, what do you want me to say?
Whatever you want to say.
Give head an ice baths. That's the way to do it.
Is it?
Yep.
All
Try it and tell us how it is. Post it on Instagram. Tag me. At Jacob.
Don't do it on TikTok.
Tag
You'll
me
run
at-
the guidelines.
Tag me at Roadshow Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Roadshow. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
If you're down, ready to go, wanna fly away with you, float away, fly away.